All right. Let's see here. Yep. Okay. Mike says it's working. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing this wonderful Friday evening? Looks like we already got quite a few people in here tonight. Let's see. Halloween, welcome. Animal Man, good to see you. Vestus Wolf, good to see you again. Giovanni, good to see you again as well. Selena, welcome. And Luna. Okay, so here we are. We survived another week. Friday night is here. I'm getting ready for whatever it is you got going on this weekend. Let's see. And there's Peachy. Time to shake that booty. I got myself a busy weekend planned. It's been a busy week. So I've been doing a lot of different research this week. One, I've been working with the Fae a lot. And I can actually say that the Fae Lord for October, that is part of, me and him's laying out how his section of the path working will be done. And I'm now seeing that Scott, greetings, man. Greetings. Good to see you. The way they're doing this is they're laying out how the path working will be done and outlining it. So it appears that next year's when I'm actually going to be going through the path working. So this is going to be pretty intense. I'm usually, when I'm working with an entity like this, they work me through it as they lay it out. Definitely not what they're doing this time around. Hey, Maurice. Yeah, we changed the backgrounds out here and there. I need to get the Dragon's Eye seal back up there for a live stream here soon. Kind of miss it. And Roses, welcome. And yes, everyone, if you're here, do hit the like button. It helps the channel out a lot. We got 17 people already in here viewing and only 9 thumbs up. So go ahead and smash that thumbs up button to let the algorithm know you actually enjoy the work we're doing. And it allows YouTube to show it to more people. So yeah, clearly I've bitten off a lot more with this particular path working and getting this information out than I thought I did. But with that, this particular Fae Lord is definitely challenging many thoughts that I had and concepts that I had, and causing me not necessarily to say, not that I was wrong, but they are forcing me to go back and reevaluate it in more detail to better define my stance, which is something I haven't had to do in a while. And some of you in the Discord know exactly what I'm talking about. And I am doing that particular research as well, trying to look in and define that. And perhaps, depending on how that goes, I'll share more details on the exacts of what I mean with that. Also, I have been working with the third sphere of the Cliff-Off this week, which this one's been interesting. This one is. So I've been working directly with Abramelech, the Peacock King, which surprisingly actually has a lot of associations with Azazel. Didn't know that. That was new. Learned something. And Azazel's so much of a hands-on kind of guy when I did work with him, other than one particular working where he is like, no, I'm sending you over here instead. But he is usually hands-on. I wasn't quite ready for this one. This one's all about perspectives. So this has been kind of a more detached particular working, interestingly enough. But in some ways it's been more exhausting because he's essentially like pumping me full of like 13 different perspectives of massive information at one time, 24/7. And that's not to say that I'm able to fully process that. I'm really not. But I do take the time to sit down and meditate on it and try and make as much sense of it as I can. Mysterious, good to see you. Mystic Lavender, good to see you as well. Ha, Scott, you know it. Smash that like button like you own it. Thank you much, Scott. Cheryl Owen, welcome. Lauren, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, Selena, thoughts on Beelzebub? Honestly, I have worked with Beelzebub a few times, and the times I've worked with him, he was pretty easy to work with. I can't say that he's one I enjoyed working with. We got along. I can say that. I mean, if I had to work with him again, I wouldn't hesitate. We did get along quite a bit. But when I worked with him, he was very much about tearing off the veneer of something and really getting to the root of it and showing you the truth, whether it be a good truth, an ugly truth. It didn't matter. He wanted you to see it. And he really wanted me, when I was working with him anyways, to evaluate what I was doing. And he manifested that in different ways. One of the ones that I remember most is he was showing me aspects of myself that I was clinging to, but essentially they were rotting. They were decomposing. They weren't necessarily worth hanging on to anymore. But I did enjoy working with him back then. And he is actually one that I actually want to do a video on. So I'm going to have to reach out and work with him, because I do want to do more videos on entities like that. And anytime I do a video on an entity, I always work with them when I'm doing the videos, and I actually make sure they're involved with it so that they're happy with the information I put out. See, Lauren Gamble asks, you've been to Helheim, right? Could you talk about what it's like? Actually, yeah, I could. Helheim's actually an interesting place, because Helheim it's unique in the 9 realms of the Norse mythology. We try to picture Norse mythology as individual little areas. Well, Helheim itself actually expands the entirety. So it overlaps and crisscrosses all the realms while it has its own little station in and of itself to the side. So because of this, when you're reading the tales and the Eddas and stuff, you'll actually see that you can see Helheim from the surface world in many cases. And when you reach Helheim, you quickly learn that it's a beautiful land. Its landscape is as diverse as you would expect here on the physical plane. You'll find fields and forests and lakes and rivers and caves of all kinds. It's very vibrant. It's very beautiful. It does have areas that are more foggy and shadowy per se. What most people are going to expect Helheim to look like is that kind of grayish dull. There are areas in there like that, but the bulk of it, honestly, it's just a gorgeous landscape. And for the areas that do overlap the other areas, the landscape tends to take on a semblance of that landscape as well. So it's a gorgeous realm. Animal Man asks, what happens to the energy of a spell if it doesn't manifest in time? It basically unravels. It essentially unravels and just becomes raw energy again and goes back to doing whatever it was doing. In some cases. Now, there are cases where the spell, it may not manifest in the time that you expect it to. And even like for me, it may not manifest in the time that I consider useful. But in some cases, those spells will continue forward and they'll continue working. And it may take time, but they may actually manifest that result later on down the road, even if it's past time for it to manifest or be needed. And this is one reason some magicians tell you if you've passed the point where you need it, you should probably ground out the spell. And depending on what it is, that might be a good idea. Because if you're doing, like, say, a spell to attract your true love. And you meet somebody before the spell itself necessarily manifests, or you decide you want to remain single your whole life, whatever. It could still continue to try and bring you a partner. And depending on the situation, that could cause problems, obviously. So in those cases, yeah, not a bad idea. But like a prosperity spell, prosperity is going to bring prosperity. So I don't think I'll ever get to the point in my life where I say, nah, I don't need no more prosperity. In that case, I just let those run. Let's see. Mangrove Exotics just found your channel the past week. Have been binge watching from the beginning all week. Well, Mangrove, thank you very much. Glad you're enjoying the channel. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the live streams. Selena, somehow I've forgotten all my questions for you. You know, I get that a lot. I guess I'm just ugly enough. I just scare the questions right out of y'all. I don't know. All I can do is apologize. Yeah. The Norse spirit animal. This comes in different viewpoints because it can be an animal that some people view it as an animal that can shift and change over the course of your lifetime. It is the spirit animal that guides you and teaches you as needed at that time. And many say that it's a singular spirit that manifests as an animal. So it shifts its animal state based upon where you're at in your life and what you need to work on. Others say that it is an animal that is with you your whole life, or multiple animals that are with you your whole life that move in and out as they need to teach you those kinds of things. And many of them even say that you have one that associates with land, air, and water. The ones that I have worked with in my personal life was the wolf and the raven. Selena, do deities hear what you think? Do you have to talk to them out loud or for them to understand? It depends. Yeah, deities can hear your thoughts. Easy peasy. So if you're working with an entity or a deity, and you can't speak out loud for whatever reason, you can definitely think to them and they will hear it. In fact, I do this all the time when I fly. Not only do I do trance work and journey work while flying, but if I have to speak with an entity or a deity, I'll just think to them. I've even done entire rituals through thought without speaking out loud for this very reason. So yeah, you can easily think it to them. No, don't say that. Don't worry, Selena. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. I'm a big joker, and I love to pick on myself. Also helps keep my ego in check just a little bit. Just a little bit. I am Southern, so it's all good. Let's see, Maurice Drake, that was a great answer on the energy question. Got to run. Oh, well, man, I appreciate you dropping in and saying hi. And thanks for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening and a great weekend, man. Cheryl, how can I find out what my animal is? The easiest way to do this, honestly, is to sit down, get into a good meditative trance state, and use whatever method works best for you, whether it be sound or breathing. Me personally, I love a nice drum beat. And for those of you who took the meditation course that we have on the school, we have the drum beat I actually use most on there. but focus on finding that animal and just wait and let the animal come to you. Don't go into it with any preconceived notions whatsoever, and just go in to find the animal and find out what animal comes to your mind and what animal approaches you. And then from there, start learning about that animal and calling out to it in meditation and listening to it. That's the easiest way. I mean, you can go as deep as, go out into the woods and set up a big fire and sit out overnight. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good sit out, but that's not necessary. You can actually do it from the comfort of your home in a basic meditation. Sometimes it'll happen easily. Sometimes it may take a few nights tries, but just keep your focus on that and wait and see which animal comes to you. Let's see. Interesting perspectives. Are you familiar with the book Saga? Not right off the top of my head, Jenny. Yeah. Lauren does actually mean through journey work, not actual getting there. Lauren, I could actually see wolf for you. I won't lie. From the time you and I have talked here in the live streams and in the Discord server, I actually could see wolf. Now, that's not saying that that's what it is, but I could totally see a wolf for you. Let's see, Scott. Regarding servitors, how important is it to house them in a vessel like a jar or something like that? Honestly, it's not that important. You just, if you don't have a physical object, the energy tends to dissipate relatively quickly over time, which means your servitor is not going to last as long. That said, as far as something like a jar or something like that, it's not that important at all. In fact, my go-to for servitor vessels, which, let's see if I can get it out of the stack here. There you go. Composition notebook. Each page of a composition notebook I use as a vessel for a servitor. I write out the details, the information, the workings, what I got it doing, its appearance, its personality, the individual sigil I designed for it, and I bind the energy into the page itself. And that's really handy because then I have that physical vessel, easy peasy, don't have to worry about it. And it can hold, I think that book has 200 pages. So that's 200 servitors if I needed it. And getting rid of the vessel is super easy because I just yank the page out and burn the sun gun. But always do have a command word for termination just in case. Make sure you got the termination codes and all that on the paper too. That's my go-to, Scott. I'm a very practical mage. I'm working on. Hey, putting a little bit of dragon oil on it wouldn't hurt at all, Mystic. It really would not. Anytime you can put charged oil onto an item, as long as it's not going to cause problems, go for it. The only downside to this that I've seen, some people do it and the oil doesn't soak into the wood well enough. So you got to be careful because when you set your wand on something, it could leave an oily residue. That's one thing to look out for. Yeah, see, that's what I thought Selena was talking about. I thought she was talking about the fact that I said I was ugly and scared the questions out of y'all. Let's see. Austin Embry Drake, my Twitter is, I followed you on Twitter. Man, I appreciate it. Honestly, I don't do a lot on Twitter these days. This ain't something you hear me say a lot, but most of the stuff that shows up there is just so negative and drama induced. I feel like I'm hanging out with a bunch of high school teenage girls. It's crazy. So I'm not over on Twitter a lot. I do like to occasionally pop over and check on a few of my friends' stuff, but I do appreciate you following me over there. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that page. Because last time I posted a video, Twitter sent me a warning. I don't know why they sent me a warning. But they did. So I've been trying to figure that one out. Let's see, and then Luna, is there a method you advise to know about your spirit animal guided meditations? I have used a guided meditation with my students from time to time, but generally it's just the way I prefer to do it is low lighting with a candle, some kind of candle style light. And then just relax, meditate, and use. I enjoy breathing techniques, and I usually do the 10 breath square breathing. And every time you do one repetition of an in and out from square breathing, you're sinking deeper and deeper. And then on that 10th one, you would shift over to focusing on calling to your spirit animal, wanting to meet them, and you put your focus there. And you open your senses up and wait for the animal to approach you. That's honestly my recommended way, and the way I have my students do it. I may actually work on getting a guided meditation posted up on the YouTube channel. Hey, Jade, glad you could make it. Got a lot of people in here tonight. Appreciate it. Thank everyone for the likes, definitely. Oh, and by the way, don't forget the limited edition 2020 Halloween mug, which this isn't yet, by the way. Mine hasn't arrived. Once it does, I'll show you. But it is available at the merch store. So yeah, Happy Skull is the winner of the contest, and their artwork is absolutely wonderful, and was put onto the coffee cup, and it is now available over there. So if you go to workingdragonmystic.com, there should be a link below. You can find pop over, pick up the mug. There's only going to be 50 of these mugs ran, and once they're gone, that's it. They're gone. So make sure you pick up yours if you're interested. Support the channel, and if you happen to see Happy Skull in the Discord, congratulate them on the winning. Also, if I miss your question, because there are a lot of questions in here tonight, I apologize. It's jumping around. We do have the super chat thing, so you can do a small donation, and it flashes it real big in front of my face. Make sure I don't miss it. Mystic Lavender asks, how the weather? Honestly, it's been in the 70s here during the day. So it's been warm during the day, and then it's dropping to the low 60s at night, which is a little annoying because it means the house gets warm enough, at least in the upstairs, that I can't move up to my office just yet. And I can't even manage to get the air conditioner turned off, which is something I was kind of hoping to do. So we're just sitting in that really annoying spot right now. Cheryl Owen asks, is summoning an entity something a beginner can do? Cheryl, it can be tricky. It can be, no lies. And full evocation is hard. But if you're just trying to contact an entity, that is something very beginner friendly. In fact, if you check out my videos on finding a god or goddess or entity to work with, and then there's a video that shows a simple method of just contacting them and reaching out to them. That's very doable. That's not full evocation, but that is something that is doable as a beginner. Though you will still need to work on your arcane senses a bit, which we do have a video on arcane senses as well. And of course, always work on your meditation. It's the foundation of all magic, period. And what the? Trey Coleman, $25 super chat, man. Wow, appreciate the donation. Thank you very much for the support. Appreciate that. Mugs up to you, my man. Jackie, how there? New to the channel, excited to learn. Welcome. Glad you made it. Glad to have you. Always good to see new people, new faces. And Barnoldus, good to see you made it. Let's see, what is this? How close do you think 5K challenge will be? Ooh. You know what? We are getting very close to breaking 4K tonight. I was looking at that earlier. We're well over 3,990. And looking at the analytics. Ooh. I'd say you guys, let's see, what is it? It's the 23rd, so I think you might be able to make 4,300 to 4,500, maybe. If you can keep up the pace that you all have been keeping up, which is really great. I mean, you've got me completely baffled that y'all made it this far. You really do. You guys are awesome. But still, if you do manage to hit the 5K, the deal's still on. But yeah, I do believe 4,300 would be fairly doable for you all at the rate y'all been doing. Let's see. Mangrove Exotics on the Dragoness and the Dragon. Is the Dragoness the dragon that sits between the goddess and source as laid out in Conway's book? And am I correct in assuming the dragon is the male counterpart? No, the dragon and the dragoness aren't. That's actually they're not mentioned anywhere at all in Conway's works. That was actually my first thought when I first heard mention of them. That was an assumption I had as well, and it quickly became apparent to me that I was incorrect on that. The dragon that is in Conway's works that lays at that gate toward to goddess. It is a much younger dragon than what the dragoness is. Oh, Trey, is that your friend, Bernaldus? Woohoo! Okay. If I'm reading that right, well, Trey, welcome. And thank you for the support, my man. Appreciate it. Selena, has any deity or entity ever terrified you? At least on the temporary, yes. I've told plenty of examples of entities that have given me shock factors. That said, there are entities I have a healthy respect for and fear for in their abilities. So, I mean, a good example of this is I'm fully aware of what Odin's capable of. I've seen him in action. Um, but I won't say it terrifies me because I actually know him and I respect him and his honor. I know he's not going to do anything. Um, that said, the higher rulers, though, like especially the ruler of the Maelstrom and the ruler of the Chaos Dragons, those two, if you aren't really understanding what's going on when you work with those energy patterns, they can wreck you up bad. And that actually does scare me. And the first time I worked with them was absolutely terrifying. And I still approach them with a heavy, heavy, heavy dose of caution and make sure that it is something that I want to involve them in before I approach them. And that's one reason I state those higher rulers are not beginner friendly at all. Aside from that, I'd have to say Mab and Tatiana, the fake queens. Those two entities, especially Mab, there's just something about their eyes. It's unsettling. Of all the weird crap I've seen, even within the Cliff Off, yeah, they're the ones that unsettle me the most. Lily asks, "Are servitors beginner friendly?" Yeah, actually, I would say they very much are, Lily. So if you're interested in servitor work, check out my videos on energy work, meditation, sigil magic, and beginner servitors. I actually have a video for learning to do servitors as a beginner. And they are very beginner friendly. If you follow the outline in that video, you will be making servitors pretty quick. But I do find them very friendly for beginners. In fact, it's one of the areas I enjoy teaching my students to work in because it's a great way to set up active magics that can be helpful to you in long term, short term. And you can get very, very creative with them. And it's also a nice little way to create entities to help delegate work. And that's always fun. So, yeah, I definitely find them very beginner friendly. And as long as you follow that outline, they're perfectly safe too because you enter in a kill command. So, no worries there. Mysterious, I'd say someone who hasn't actually been scared by something isn't. Yeah, yeah. If something doesn't scare you, you ain't doing something right. Of course, that's kind of why I love it. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I see what you're doing. Trey's talking, or Bernoldus is talking through. I don't know. One of them's talking through the other one. But Trey, I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Appreciate it, man. And you are welcome. No problem. No problem. It honestly, it took me a long time, Mangrove, to decipher some of this because the dragons did lay out a lot of information when working with Conway, but it was, as they've explained it, it was the first step into a larger world, and they've still got so much more to teach us humans. Um, I always assumed they were going to find some other big name person to, feed us more information. I didn't think they were going to find some schmuck like me to be sharing this information in a public forum the way this is, especially someone who's afraid of cameras. But at the same time, I'm honored to have the opportunity to and meet so many wonderful people in the process and get to hear your experiences too. Honestly, it's great to wake up every morning, check my messages, and get to read your all's experiences and hear how much this channel's helped you and changed your lives. That makes everything worth it right there. And while I'm on that topic, let me go ahead and state I do read all the comments. I don't always have time to answer them. I am very, very busy. Many of you know I barely sleep, but I do read the comments, and I do highly appreciate them. And I try to answer as many as I can or respond to them as I can. But if I don't get to your comment for whatever reason, I apologize. But I do appreciate the comments all the same, and they are being read. And thank you for sharing your experiences. I guess it's kind of a blessing that the channel's gotten to the point where I don't have the ability to answer every comment anymore. But at the same time, I kind of miss being able to. But I do still read them, and I appreciate it. Lily, you already watched it. Thank you very much. No problem, Lily. In fact, good luck with it. I hope you start manifesting a lot using your servitors right away. Giovanna, Tempestra is intimidating to say the least. Yeah, she can be. And that's because of, I mean, she does work in that raw change. Zergaroth can have, yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. He's okay. It just depends on how you're working with him. Lily, if you've constructed the servitor from start to finish, you shouldn't have anything to worry about because you're the one that's controlled the shaping of the energy from start to finish and shaped it. So that's pretty much the key to it. You're building it from the ground up. You're not binding anything. You're literally creating something. So as long as it's the thing you created, no problems. And it will respond to the actual name and commands and everything you give it. And that's another thing. The servitor will be under your control. So if you even perceive it acting weird, or you think you've lost control of it, or you think it might be an imposter, you just give the kill command that's built into it. Boom, servitor destroyed. If it doesn't destroy, then do a banishing ritual because that would be, then you didn't manage to create one, something else stepped in to trick you. And a simple banishing would do that. But here's the kicker. Outside of human spirits just being dicks, other entities won't do that. Other entities don't tend to do that. Now, you will find the very rare occasion, like let's say you work with Loki. Loki playing a trick on you might do that if you work with him, but he won't do it as a regular. He don't want to be predictable. Let's see, Selena asked, the demon Zozo associated with the Ouija board, is it real or made up? By and large, every time I've tried to reach out to Zozo, I keep pulling up an Aggregator. So I'm going to say Zozo is an Aggregator at this point. I'm convinced of it. And when you are talking about spirit boards and Ouija boards, those kinds of things, I've done a lot of work with Ouija boards and testing the authenticity of them. Many of you know I come at magic from a scientific perspective. And one reason I don't like Ouija boards, dowsing rods, and pendulums, which for those of you who use them, no problem. Use them if they're working for you. Always. That's the big one. If you're getting your results, I'm not going to knock it. The reason I don't and I can't actually is I understand what's called the ideomotor response too much. And for me, that puts too much of my bias into anything I'm doing. Anything. So the Ouija board naturally became one that I was interested in because they say it functions on the ideomotor response. But you have like 5 people there, so obviously the bias can't be there, can it? So we tested this little theory. And we did a Ouija board session. Then we decided that we'd do the same thing, only we would blindfold the people and set up. The only thing we didn't tell them when we done the second round was we moved the Ouija board. In fact, we completely took the Ouija board out. And we just put like I want to say it was a Monopoly board or maybe even a clue game down. And they began asking their questions, and the planchette was doing its moving and everything. And it was moving to where the people knew the things should be. And if an entity or spirit had been moving the planchette, you wouldn't have had that problem. The blindfold should have been able to turn that off. But the idiomotor response wasn't turned off because they already had in their head where the board was. So that's, for me, one of the reasons I have trouble with those. But the demon Zozo, every time I've attempted to contact it, I keep getting an Aggregator. I've never actually located a demon of the Ouija board. So far, no demon wants to claim the Ouija board, ironically. In fact, if you want a good laugh, anytime you're working with one of these entities, ask them about it. They tend to roll their eyes about the Ouija board. But I hope that answers your question a little bit. I may have went on a tangent or a rant there. I apologize, Selena. That was not my intent. Let's see, Trey, with meditation, does arcane senses play a part in said meditation practice? Or are they two totally different? You know what, Trey? That's a good question, my man. And I would say they do play a part. I mean, technically speaking, they are different, and you do train them slightly different. But since meditation is the foundation of all magic, the overlap is significant enough to say that yes, both meditation and arcane senses affect each other. So, for example, during meditation, let's say you're doing focused meditation to receive insight, wisdom, or answers, your arcane senses is going to be what the information's fed through. And if you're doing a visualization exercise, same thing. So yeah, they're definitely linked up. And to train your arcane senses, you need to usually be able to get into a meditative or trance state, at least when first starting out. So yeah, I would definitely say they're connected. Great question, actually. I don't think I've ever actually had anyone ask about that connection. That's a good question, Trey. No problem, Lily. Happy to give my perspective and share what knowledge I have with y'all. Okay, mysterious. Regarding servitors, some say it is impossible to create a servitor that can do something you can't do, while some others say a servitor can do anything you can imagine. Thoughts? Well, technically, it's a true statement. If a servitor can do it, you can do it. And servitors can basically do anything you imagine, but so can you with your magic. We're really limited on our own limitations in magic. Certain areas of magic, we haven't really figured out how to break the boundaries thereof. But by and large, that is a true statement. The big factor here is a servitor can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without rest. And they can constantly be helping you achieve goals. And you and them can both be working on the same goal to achieve it faster. So this actually is very, very handy, and it also allows you to delegate work. And it is true, you can essentially do the same thing. But as anyone knows, if you bought something from IKEA, which is easier, you and a team trying to put the thing together, get it together quicker, or you trying to sit there and do the whole thing yourself. Technically, you can get it done. It won't get done as quick. So, with any form of magic, you're going to have to pro and con the situation. But yeah, servitors are a very handy and practical magic. I think any magician should really have it in their toolbox. And I actually tend to think it's ridiculous for people who disregard servitors and it's like anything a servitor can do, I can do myself. Well, we know that. That's not the thing. The thing is multitasking here. I mean, technically, I can clean my kitchen. I can do a lot of things. I can't do them all at the same time. So I have to, make sure I manage my time correctly. And I'll tell you right now, if I could afford it, I'd hire somebody to clean my kitchen and delegate that work because I would want to spend my time on something else. And servitors really are that exact same thing. They're help. Hope that makes sense, Mysterious. Ryan Price. I'm here, Drake, just in the background. Hey, Ryan, glad you made it. Appreciate you letting us know you're here. Oh, coffee's good tonight. Selena, anyone here that's worked with Hecate or Lilith? Actually, I've worked with both of them. Lilith, actually, more recently, she actually is one of the primaries within the Cliffothic pathworking that I'm working on. They both have a lot in common. They really do. Both of them are really big on self-sufficiency. They're really big on self-empowerment. They're both big on owning your own mistakes. They do not like it when you make excuses. In a lot of ways, for a long time, I thought they were the same entity because they do share so many of these traits. Though both of them are both tremendous magical practitioners and will love to teach those. I do think Hecate tends to hedge out in overall magical studies just a little bit. Whereas Lilith is more of self-empowerment, independence is really where she puts more of her focus into. But that's not to say that she's not a tremendously powerful teacher in magics as well. But she has taught me some fascinating things about myself. Pardon me. And managing what's going on in my life and areas I need to work on. Let's see. Oh, well, we got two quick things here that actually fit together real quick. Mangrove Exotic. I've asked the board questions that only I know the answer to. I wasn't the one touching the planchette, but received correct answers. Yes, not saying it's not possible. Let me make that clear. I'm not saying it's not possible, but the margin of error is too high for me to trust. That's why I don't use it. There's too large an area of error for me to actually count it as a reliable divination source for my practice, and that is because of the idiomotor response. So I understand. I mean, it is possible for it to work. I'm not saying it's a complete parlor trick. That's not what I'm saying at all, Mystic Mangrove. That's not what I'm saying. It's just due to the margin of error. It's not a method that I prefer or can trust in my personal practice. And Mystic Lavender, that's an interesting theory on the Ouija board. Yes, I've done it before. Something dark came through. Yes, something claimed to be Zozo, but it said was strongly a medium. So, I mean, you can get results. I'm not saying you can't get results with the Ouija board. You can. In fact, this time of year, most of the work I do for other people tends to be, we were having a party and we were playing with a Ouija board, and now our cabinets and animals are acting weird. Can you do a house cleansing? I love to help people. I really do. And I'm sympathetic to this situation. But after about the 23rd call in October, I don't care how sympathetic you are, you start banging your head on the desk asking why. So yeah, they are a functional item that does work. Like I said, it's just the margin of error. It's strictly how my brain functions. I'm very much a data percentage kind of guy. Let's see, Mystic, hence why I asked a while ago if demons can be honest. Actually, yeah, more often than not, demons are honest. In fact, I can honestly say I've never had one lie to me. And most magicians I've spoken to will have told me they don't lie, which I found to be fascinating. Though I have spoken with some magicians where they say it's not that they lie, but they'll tell you the truth you need at the time to reach the goal that you're searching for. I mean, that's a little corkscrew crooked, but I could see what they were saying there. I could see what they were saying. And I could actually see a demon or two that I know doing that. They tell you what you need to do and what you need to know to get you to your goal, because their ultimate goal is to get you to your goal. And yeah, I could see them bending or twisting the truth in order to get you there. And then you run down the philosophical rabbit hole of what is a lie, because they told you the truth and how to get you to your goal, even if the truth at the exact minuscule moment might not have been entire truth. So yeah, that turns into a cross-eyed tailspin straight down into an ethical philosophical debate. Jenny, email would be the best way to contact me. The email's available in the about section, which I have gotten some of the pictures you've sent of jewelry and everything. So if you want to email me, send me a price list of what you charge for what different projects you would be willing to do. What would a normal order consist of? What would the time to make it be? What would the copyrights on that kind of stuff be? This is the information we need to know, because currently we're talking to one jeweler who requires us to make an order of 100 pieces. We own the mold, so they won't print anything resembling our works for anyone else. It's just right now his services and works aren't in the budget. But the ability to own that mold and to know that no pieces will be printed outside of the agreement, that's a great thing for us. But we will need a price list and other information like that before we can make a decision. Mangrove exotics, demons, and deities aren't speaking through the boards. I would say it's probably human spirits. Mangrove, that is one thing I would agree with you. Absolutely. In my experience, in the times when I've sat back and monitored other people using the board when there was clearly an entity involved, every time it's been a human spirit. I've never seen something of a higher form approach it. I always keep looking for it. Always keep looking for it. Always, anytime I reach a conclusion, I always leave the end of it open for new learning, because new data will change things. But at this point in time, I'm with you 100%. I've only seen human spirits interact with it when I have. And from everything I've seen from the data, I'm with you on that one, Miro. Any deities related to dreams? Whoa. Dreams is not an area I'm big on, though Lilith works with dreams, Nama works with dreams. You can do dream work with Freya, though she does prefer to do most of the working via like seeth magic and trance work. She does actually enjoy dream work, so that would actually be one that you could approach about dreams. I wish my wife was down here. She'd probably know the one I'm thinking about. It seems like there's a Greek one that deals with dreams, and I can never remember them. But definitely those three would be three good ones to go with. Okay, Animal Man asks what the difference between a thought form and an egregore is. And honestly, this is a debated thing, Animal Man. The general, and I have to stress that, general consensus is a thought form is generally created by 1 to 2 people, whereas an egregore is created by 5 or more people, which, yeah, I already see the problem because we went from 2 to 5. What's this entity here? What if you only have 4? What's that? This is why I called it a general rule. It makes no sense. So an egregore in general, people will say, can only be made by 5 or more people. However, you also have people who say if a thought form is created or a servitor is created, gets free, runs amok, and continues to gain enough energy, it can move into an egregore state, or enough people start believing into the same mythos, they accidentally create an egregore. There is no hard defining line here. But the general thing is the thought form is created by one person, and egregore is created and empowered and brought into existence by many. So I apologize for making fun of the general definition because of that jump, but that's always bothered me. We go from 2 to 5. What happens to everything in between? That bothers me. But yeah, it's not a defined thing, unfortunately, Animal Man. But I do hope that helps answer your question a little bit. Oh, Morpheus. Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. See, I grew up watching Megatrix. I should know that. I should know that. That's what I get. And Hypnos. Yeah, Hypnos is a good one. So, yeah, great questions tonight, everyone. Absolutely great. Let's see here. What we got going? Oh, by the way, this week's video, which was the introduction to the rune class. Thank you for all the wonderful comments on that. I am glad y'all enjoyed it, and I am glad to hear y'all excited about the rune class. The next video, because I've been asked this, when's the official first lesson coming for the rune class? And not this Tuesday. This Tuesday we got a video on a baneful magic discussion coming out Tuesday. But the following week, we will actually be releasing the very first lesson on the rune class. So for those of you interested in the rune class who saw the introduction, try and have at least your flashcards ready, because we're going to be diving into the runes with that class, and you will have homework with that first lesson. So we're going to go ahead and start diving into the meat of that class. And I do have the goal to continue to do one lesson every other week as much as possible until we get the full class uploaded, barring any hiccups due to holiday hoopla and all that. But there will be homework assignments, so be ready. Be ready. But you should be good if you just get your flashcards, and if you don't make it out to get flashcards, you can cut up some printer paper or something. All right, everyone, we are sitting here at an hour. I think we can go ahead and, okay, I'll take this last question before we wrap up here. Selena, thoughts on voodoo and hoodoo? Okay. I generally, Selena, dodge these topics. I won't lie. No, you're fine, Selena. But let's talk about them. Voodoo is what's known as an initiatory tradition or practice. It is one you do need to be initiated in. And you do need to handle the entities that work in it very differently from all other entities I've encountered. So when you go online and you find the Loa and the Orisha listed as voodoo gods, that's inaccurate. That is not exactly how they're approached. And to treat them the same way as you would treat the other entities and to work with them in the same way, that's a good way to get yourself in trouble. And I can't count the number of individuals who has done that. But they are a very different practice. Now, to say that said, you do need to find a voodoo line and or family to be initiated into. This is true. Now, for the people who want to jump up and down and talk about what about self-initiation? You can't self-initiate into voodoo. You can't. However, it is possible to initiate straight through the Loa and have the Loa themselves to initiate you. This is generally viewed as not a safe ideal, not a good ideal, because it's harsh, and without understanding what you're getting yourself into, it can go sideways very, very fast. That's not to say it's not possible. It is possible. It's just not viewed as safe. But you still do need to do that. So it's not, these aren't entities that you should call up and work with and talk to just for funsies. They're not. Now, hoodoo and voodoo are different. These two words really should not be used interchangeably. Hoodoo is more of the root magic, the herbalism, the candle magics, and those kinds of things which are part of voodoo, but they're not part of the initiatory side of voodoo. In fact, here in the South, a lot of what people call Southern root working actually is hoodoo. So you do actually see a lot of this just conjure work, and hoodoo and root workings are all part and parcel, or at least very tightly related to one another. And it is a little differently. So most books that I have located that actually go into any depth usually only cover the hoodoo side, even though they'll put voodoo on the book cover. I keep getting asked questions all the time. Do I know a good, reliable book for learning voodoo? Nope, I don't. Honestly, if you want to learn voodoo, my advice to you, hands down, find a proper practitioner who's initiated, who has done the work, who has completed their training, and who has the right to teach, and that can prove that to you, and learn from them. That would be my recommendation. And I know that closes the door, and there's probably a lot of people looking at me pouting right now, and I apologize. But I do respect traditions, and I respect the ways of a tradition, and I respect the entities. So yes, I say magic itself, anyone can do, but don't go jumping into a tradition and claiming a tradition you're not a part of. That's not cool, people. That's not cool at all. And especially in that case, those entities themselves, they function very differently, very differently. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Selena. But if that is something you're interested in, I do hope the opportunity and the door opens and you find someone who can help you learn it. All right, everyone. I appreciate all your all's questions. You have really had some great questions. Trey, I'll be honest with you, man. You hit me with that meditation arcane senses question. More than, oh dear God, like 15 years of teaching, and I don't think anyone's ever hit me with that question, man. But it's a good one and it holds solid. It's legit. So I appreciate it. And y'all have honestly, all of you had great questions. We got a lot of new people in here tonight. Appreciate y'all for joining us. And I hope everyone has an absolute blast this weekend. For those of you who get to relax, do me a favor, throw your feet up, grab a cup of coffee, a beer, some beverage, sweet tea, I don't care. Make it cold water. And have a drink for me, because I got me a busy, busy weekend. I won't be putting my feet up none. So please put your feet up for me and let me relax through you. And also be sure to join me Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Magical Coffee Hour. So at least then we can cut up, tell some jokes, answer a few more questions, and finish out the weekend correctly. Okay? See what we can do there. End it on a high note there. Thoughts on the blue moon on Samhain? I'll tell you real quick on that one, living room. It's going to be awesome. The energy is going to be high, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And actually, you all asked, I think it was Magical Coffee Hour last week, about doing a live ritual for Samhain. I'm considering it. I'm doing the logistics, and hopefully by Sunday, I'll have an answer for you. So that's my goal, is to have an answer for you on Sunday. So we'll see what we can do. The blue moon is on Samhain, which is Halloween. So yeah, we got us a full moon on Halloween, and it is a blue moon. So you know what? I got a few fans who seem to think they might enjoy a live ritual. And as bare bones as I keep my rituals, it would be kind of fun to perhaps involve you in and see if we can do a little something. So I'm working on the logistics, and I'll try and let you all know more on Sunday during the Magical Coffee Hour. So join me then. Lauren, you got it. If I don't remember to message you myself due to crazy town, scrambled brains, you know how I get. Shoot me a message and remind me. I'll catch you up on it. So, all right, everyone, you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your magic. And I'll see you Sunday. Take it easy.